Hello friends. So in the last session I checked if my things in AST actually assemble, and behind the scenes I also checked if I could add a white space and it would still work, and it still works. So this is not triggering an error just because, well, as you can see in the processing, here it says not implemented, and it's this place here, next operand, so it doesn't register the beginning of a digit or operator, so it just doesn't know what to do with it and just skips. I might introduce like consume white spaces functionality, but this is not what I want to do right now. So the entire thing I started with actually was I wanted to check if a variable from outside would be equal to some string. I do have an operand string, but I never consumed something that starts with a string. Okay, and I want to build a consume string function just to kind of show that it is possible, right? So in make operator thing, oh no wait, in yeah, next operand, I want to check for a starting how's that thing called, quote. So yeah, but in order to test it, I'll make a really dumbass assumption that in here I could have, well, let's type in space ribs. I guess I need this space ribs, and I would need an operator minus something. Technically right now, since this is not going to be processed correctly, it's gonna throw some ridiculous error, I suppose. So it thinks it's a space ribs. Right, and it, yeah, it messes up everything, right? So subtract something with something, and it's just mess. So I want this space ribs to be a actual string that I have, like this. So next operand, next operand, yes. If I encounter, yeah, let's make it here. Else if C is equal to a caret, then I'm just gonna print it for now. Found string, just to know if I process it correctly. Because this is the way I do it. It's long and not interesting. Whoa. it hangs because I don't fall inside, and it doesn't go to next element ever. So I'm gonna need the consume string, and this is going to be literally a copy paste of consume variable because it makes sense. Ink, so it's a copy, and I'm gonna move it, come on, right outside here, and paste. Also, it's going to be called a string. Delete word. String. So there's some capacity, temp strings. Check if So I already came in here. So apparently up there in the original match, when I'm registering that I've got a registering that I've got a opening quote. I'm going to document the information. Already registered quote symbol to start this function. So I need to self I next just to go inside there. And while so I need to initiate a search for a string. So while there's something, if C is not a symbol of a caret, where is it? Yeah. While it's not this, I do this. All right. And apparently every time when I iterate this, so I came in here, I knew already that there's a caret, not a caret, quote. So I stepped in further, started iterating, and I'm looking, okay, not a caret, push, not a caret, push, not a caret, push, found a caret. and this. So maybe at this point I shouldn't peek, because the very next item that I actually get is supposed to be taken from the evaluation. So maybe this is not actually needed. And this immediately becomes next. Oh wait, I came with the registered symbol, so I need to skip it first. So this is still needed. This is still needed, just to skip the first quote. Then I'm going into this. I'm breaking out. I need to know that I actually found a closing caret. Let mutable is closed. It's false. Alright, so what's gonna happen is I started iterating and I'm pushing the entire string, like a content of a next item further. I push it and eventually I find the end of a string and I'm saying, okay, it's closed. Throw. Alright. And I know for a fact that if it's closed, then I can return an operand of a string. Operand of a string. Else return an error saying that string has no closing parent. So yes, this is closing. Why is it not formatting the code? Oh yeah, now it's done. So there's a consume string. I iterate over. So the sync finds a closing one eventually. Not finding, yeah, it finds a closing one and it breaks. Why is it like, yeah, let me move around these things. If it is, then it's gonna do this. And if it's not, so if it's actually finding the closing parent, then it's closed. Otherwise, it's pushed. So yeah, it's better to read this way. And if it's closed, then this. Alrighty. Will it at least compile? There's no implementation for this. So first of all, there's JavaScript developer talking to me, like in me. So yeah, I remove a bunch of these. Why do I do this? Well, let's try and compile with this. It will still hang in a loop, actually, because I never called it, but I'm gonna, yeah. So it compiled, consume string. Found a string. So, yeah, like I mentioned before, there is a repeated, there's a repeated pattern I do, and unless I cover everything with results and yeah, unless I cover everything with results, I will have to copy all these things. This will become easier. So, but at least for now, I have to copy paste. Consume string. So it consumes the string. If there is a um, Aster, um, what do I call it? Literal? Is it what it's called? Yeah, Aster literal could not read string literal with a message like this. All right, let's test it out. So there's our space rips. So we were able to read the string. Let's try and fail it. Let's say somebody forgets this. All right, so we were able to fail it. Which is what we want. Obviously, at this point, if I build a what's it called? If I build evaluator of this thing, it should not work actually. Maybe just to make things a bit more interesting for me, I'm gonna go ahead and try and build evaluator for this, just to have some fun. But technically it seems like it's pretty much done. I mean, I'm evaluating a bunch of stuff. As for next steps, all right, so you see there's some variable stuff and there's some string stuff. So implicitly between the variable this and this, the default operation is supposed to be equality. There will be cases which I will need to handle where alright, there's some keywords I would need to add as false, but there will be cases when I would need to write the less equal with the empty string. So I would need to concatenate guest count. Let me zoom it in. I would need to concatenate guest count variable with this string just to form a the full correct expression. And maybe I would need to build the AST with left side empty. If it's like a root of entire expression. Because right now, if I write the entire thing, so this works right now, but if I write this without the stuff on the left, it will fail. Because there is no value on a stack to create the AST. So I would need to, like here, there's 100 here. I would need to take some variable from outside to build the formula correctly with this. And I would need to know in advance if the formula I have here is not complete. So yeah, I guess this is it for this session. And whoop, what am I doing? And have a nice day.